Longtime listeners to this podcast know that Tim Wu is someone that I listen to whenever he has something important to say about tech. His book, The Master Switch, which I'll link to in the show notes if you're interested, is one of the foundational books that you have to have read if you even want to begin understanding the modern tech industry. So when Tim had an opinion piece yesterday in the New York Times about the whole US-China tech war, I stood up and took notice for a bunch of reasons, not the least of which being, this is an issue that I haven't formed a concrete opinion on myself yet. In essence, Tim wrote that a ban on TikTok is, in fact, long overdue in his opinion, as the U.S. should confront China's asymmetrical net nationalism and fight for the future of the open internet, quoting Tim Wu. Behind the TikTok controversy is an important struggle between two dueling visions of the internet. The first is an older vision, the idea that the internet should, in a neutral fashion, connect everyone and that blocking and censorship of sites by nation-states should be rare and justified by more than the will of the ruler. The second and newer vision, of which China has been the leading exponent, is net nationalism, which views the country's internet primarily as a tool of state power. Economic growth, surveillance, and thought control from this perspective are the internet's most important functions. Though China is the pioneer of net nationalism, it is on the rise elsewhere, particularly in nations like Saudi Arabia and Iran, and more recently, Turkey and India. For many years, laboring under the vain expectation that China, succumbing to inexorable world historical forces, would become more like us, Western democracies have allowed China to exploit this situation. We have accepted, with only muted complaints, Chinese censorship and blocking of content from abroad, while allowing Chinese companies to explore and exploit whatever markets it likes. Few foreign companies are allowed to reach Chinese citizens with ideas or services, but the world is fully open to China's online companies. From China's perspective, the asymmetry has been a bonanza that has served economic as well as political goals. While China does have great engineers, European nations overrun by American tech companies must be jealous of the thriving tech industry that China has built in the absence of serious foreign competition, aided by the theft of trade secrets. At the same time, China has managed, to an extent many believed impossible, to use the internet to suppress any nascent political opposition and ceaselessly promote its ruling party. The idealists who thought the internet would automatically create democracy in China were wrong. Some think that it is a tragic mistake for the United States to violate the principles of internet openness that were pioneered in this country. But there is also such a thing as being a sucker. If China refuses to follow the rules of the open internet, why continue to give it access to internet markets around the world? End quote. Wu concludes by saying this, quote, "The idealists of the 1990s and early 2000s believed that building a universal network, a kind of digital cosmopolitanism, would lead to world peace and harmony. No one buys that fantasy any longer. But if we want decency and openness to survive on the internet, surely a more attainable goal, the nations that hold such values need to begin fighting to protect them," end quote.